Hello, and welcome to mmlearn.org, a program of Morningside Ministries. Today, we're going to talk about caregivers, but in a little bit of a different format. Because I want to ask, has caregiving left a gap in your resume? Many people become caregivers, and we know that you are not alone. You're in that generation where many children, spouses, and other family members have had to quit work, cut their hours to stay home and care for a loved one. And during that time, you may have had to have quit your job completely, and you wonder what happens after your loved one no longer needs your assistance. What happens to you then when you're ready to re-enter the job market? And it's important for you to do that. The reason I say it's important is that number one, if you've been home and you've been isolated and under all of that stress, you may have lost out on a lot of earnings. Your Social Security wasn't built up during that time, and now this is time for you. And we know that you may be worried about, what do I put on my resume? Breaks in employment can impact a resume when you are ready and able to return to work. And that means that you're out of work for 3 years. You're out of work for a full year, 2 years. And I'm reading a resume, and I read lots of resumes. And I'm reading a resume, and I wonder what happened during that year. Something needs to be there if you're doing your resume based on dates of employment so that you can talk about that gap. So what do you put there on the resume in that spot? And what do? Well, you be brief. You be very factual, and you leave out the emotion, and I actually have a sentence that you can use. Remember that hiring managers are people too. Many people have gaps in their resume. You are not alone, and for many reasons, and yours, oh my gosh, yours is surely meaningful, valuable, and understandable. And so you have a reason for this gap. You shouldn't offer more information that is necessary. All the employer needs to know and usually wants to know is your caregiving commitment is no longer an issue and you're ready and available to return to work. So this is the example I wanted to show you what you would put in that area. So the example is that, say, from June of 2016 to December of 2017, you were a full-time caregiver during family member's illness. That's all you have to say. It says it all. You had to take time away from your job. You're a giving, loving person that did this for a family member. And hopefully those hiring managers are people that can understand this. And if not, it might not be a place that you want to work for if they don't have that. So the next thing is that you've got a resume together, and now it's time to interview. And it may have been, you might have worked at your job for 9 years or longer before you had to quit or really cut back to become a family caregiver. And so you might not have been on an interview in 10 or 12 years. I would say this to you, that I think, first of all, you need to practice a little bit. And I will say to you, go on interviews for jobs that you may not want at all or you just don't think you would want, to get back into getting dressed for the interview, being prepared for questions, and then you won't feel as nervous when you're going for the job that you really would like to have. It's just fine to acknowledge that time that you did not work, but here's things that I don't suggest. I don't suggest that you start with words like, I might be a little rusty, or it might take me a bit of time to catch back up. Even saying things like, I'm a fast learner, means that you're not ready for the job. You know what? You are ready for the job. You've had the hardest of all jobs. And all of us are rusty. All of us have to catch up or learn something new when we start a new job. I want you to be very positive about yourself. So when you go in, don't start out with the negative things. Just leave those off completely and let them ask you those questions. What you do want to discuss is your readiness to return to working and to the working environment and how much you're looking forward to that. And discuss your qualifications. Of course, you have to interview for a job that you're qualified for, And those old qualifications, you might want to do some reading, some catching up, looking at some journals, going on the internet, so that you're using the buzzwords of the day. And we all know, and no matter what our profession, there are buzzwords of the day. And it'll be great if you know those. But the most important thing here is your confidence, and not selling somebody on your being rusty, and that we can get that off. Don't be afraid of those practice interviews. These opportunities help you to build your confidence over and over. And what surprises me always is that people will pick a job they think they didn't want at all to go for their practice interview and accepting the position. So you never know. But the idea is to go in as you're not going in for that job. You're going in for the intent of a practice interview. And you might think, oh, well, I don't want to waste somebody's time. This is for you. This is your future. And you've done an awful lot for someone else, and now I want you to take care of you. It may help you to know that you can handle your emotions if the questions become too personal or the loss is recent. What am I saying here? I'm saying it would be really difficult if somebody starts talking about it was wonderful that you were able to take care of your family member, and your heart is still so heavy that you start crying, or that you're unable to continue the interview, or you go off on a long tangent. The interviewer doesn't want to know about how much help you had from your family, doesn't want to know the trials and tribulations. I hate to say that. There are counselors and there are support groups that are there to really help you with this. But at this time, we're asking you to go in with confidence and knowing that you're ready to talk about your experience only to the extent of what it has meant to you personally, short, sweet. But when you get into anything, or if you feel in a practice interview that you're still too emotional, it may be too early for you to be returning to work, and that's okay. Make sure that you're ready to return. And how do you know that? Well, are you healthy? Have you been to your own doctor? And we've done every other series on this, that caregivers seldom take good care of themselves. So get your eyes checked, get your teeth cleaned, get to your physician, get back into that routine of taking care of yourself. Make sure that you have good stamina. You may have to, right after this loss of caregiving, be doing something. I know you've been working hard physically, but maybe it's taking a long walk and showing that you have stamina to yourself. You know, it's interesting about your wardrobe and appearance for how long you've been out of the workplace. You might want to look around, even drive around places and see what people are actually walking out of the building wearing. I am always tickled when I see somebody come in to positions that are dressed in three-piece suits and everybody else is in T-shirts and jeans. Likely that won't happen, but if it does, you want to kind of look somewhere in between and fit in. And have confidence, it also builds to have something that, and you can wear the same suit more than once and just change your blouse or a tie if you have more than one interview. It's all about your confidence. Confidence in yourself, confidence in getting through this interview, and confidence that you're ready to enter the workforce again. Let me tell you, the workforce needs your maturity. They need your expertise. They need you to be mentors to other young people. And no matter what, I want you to concentrate on what are the qualities and qualifications that you're bringing, not what you're not coming in with. So do your research. And remember, some of the common mistakes that people make, no matter whether they're returning or they're brand new to it, is the common mistakes are not knowing anything about the company that they're going to, not knowing, having any idea of what wage rate they're looking for. That's always difficult no matter what situation you're in, but you should have some idea, because if somebody is going to offer you minimum wage and you know that you can do better than that and you've done better than that and you're better educated or whatever, have something in your mind and have questions ready for your interviewer, because when they say, do you have any questions, and you say no, it sounds like you know everything about the job and there's no questions. Of course you have questions. You may not want to bring up salaries in the first, and I probably wouldn't, but I would have questions about my ability to be able to move upwards in a ladder, whether there would be travel involved. Just ask questions that you really want to know. Ask about the milieu and the culture of the organization so that they're aware that you have worked before. And if you've never worked before, this is going to be just, you're starting on a brand new journey that is absolutely wonderful. I want to wish you good luck as you look forward to this new part of your journey. I want to thank you for being a caregiver. And I could give you so many statistics on that, but it doesn't matter. It's only about you. You, the caregiver, that gave your time, your salary to take care of someone. And I thank you. If someone else can't, I do, because I know how meaningful it is. And most important of all is that if you don't get the job right off the bat, do not give up. You have to keep going. And that's for whether you were a caregiver or not. Any of us looking for a job have to do that. But I want to say good luck.